Your accent is not the problem. Today, I want to talk about what makes communication easier when English is not your first language. If this is your first time here, my name is Natalie. I'm a non native English speaker, and I help English learners navigate their way to fluency without fear or overwhelm. You're often told to reduce your accent or sometimes to even lose it, but you're not often told what to do when you speak English as an additional language. Now, stop and think. How many celebrities do you know speak English with a foreign accent, and yet they're very successful? I know you can think of some names already. In spoken language, there are three things to blame for miscommunication, not your accent. Let's tackle mispronunciation first, and allow me to use an example from my real life as a mom of two young kids. My 1 year old recently learned to say agua, which is the word for water in Portuguese. And of course, he doesn't really say agua, he says agma. Which is harder, I guess. Anyways, he says agma. I understand he's trying to say water because he's looking at his water cup and he goes agma, agma. And he is learning to say that word, right? He understands it really well, but he can't say it yet. He's getting there. Similarly, English learners sometimes are still learning to master a certain sound or the pronunciation of a certain word. They haven't mastered that yet. Sometimes miscommunication happens because of mispronunciation. That's just normal, right? I truly believe there's a difference between mispronunciation and accent. For example, the word water in English can be pronounced so many different ways, right? Water, water, water. Water, yeah, all the different variations and accents. Now, if I say water, water, I'm not saying water. I'm saying water. That's a different word. I mean, I don't even think it's a word actually. That's mispronunciation. It is not always easy to draw the line between what's mispronunciation, what's accent. But for the most part, if that word sounds very different from how English speakers around the world say it, I would call it mispronunciation. So the first thing would be for you to know your weaknesses and know which words are hard for you to pronounce and know what you should be working on. That would be a good step. And a good thing to do is to slow down as you say these words. You don't have to speak fast. Fluency is not the same as speed or speaking very fast. No, slow down. Make yourself clear. And when you slow down, these words that you can't pronounce very well, perhaps they can be better understood. Now, let's talk about unfamiliarity because sometimes people can't understand you simply because they're not familiar with the way you speak. That's normal, even among English speakers, native speakers. They don't all understand each other perfectly. Communication isn't always that smooth. Just know that sometimes people are not familiar with the way you speak, and that's normal. And this is why slowing down, again, slowing down helps you be understood. Finally, sometimes people don't understand you simply because they don't want to. They're mean, or they don't have the time, they're lazy. So many reasons. Let me give you an example. This happened to me. I had just finished teaching English, right? I work as an adjunct instructor at a college here in my area. So I was waiting for the bus, and this man was talking to me for a little while. We were waiting for the bus, and then I mentioned that I was from Brazil originally. Okay. After I mentioned that I was from Brazil, he started not understanding me somehow. What was it? I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding you because of your accent. That's exactly what he said. Before I mentioned I was from Brazil, he never said anything about not understanding me. Like the conversation was flowing, everything was okay. So, for some reason, he decided my accent was hard for him to understand. What am I trying to say? There's a saying, it takes two to tangle, right? It takes two to communicate. So it's not just about you, it's about the other person being willing to understand yourself. Remember what I told you about my son, right? He's learning to talk, he's learning to say new words. I'm his mom. Whenever he tries to say something new, I'm always trying to listen. I'm trying to pay attention, and I understand him well. A lot of people outside of our household don't because they're not familiar with what he's saying, right? And sometimes maybe they're not willing to understand, although it's really hard for you not to pay attention to a cute baby, right? When somebody isn't willing to understand you, okay, you did your part, you did your best, and that's it. Unfortunately, that's life. There's not much you can do about that. So instead of working on losing your accent, I would encourage you to lose your fear of speaking.